Rewards in God. The Bible, God promises rewards for faithfulness, obedience, and righteousness. These rewards can be earthly blessings, spiritual growth, or eternal life in His kingdom. Both the Old Testament and the New Testament emphasize that God rewards those who seek Him diligently, trust in His ways, and remain steadfast in faith. Abraham's reward for faithfulness. Genesis 22 verses 16 to 18. Abraham, known as the father of faith, was tested by God when asked to sacrifice his son Isaac. Because of his obedience, God stopped him and provided a ram as a substitute. Then God blessed Abraham, saying, "Because you have obeyed me, I will bless you and multiply your descendants as the stars of heaven. And through your offspring, all nations will be blessed." Genesis 22 verses 17 to 18. Reward. God granted Abraham descendants as numerous as the stars and made him the father of many nations. Job's reward for patience and trust. Job 42 verses 10 to 17. Job was a righteous man who suffered great losses, his children, wealth, and health. Yet, he remained faithful to God. After his trial, God restored his fortunes, doubled his wealth, and blessed him with a long life. Reward. Job received twice as much as he had before and lived a prosperous life. God promised Israel that if they obeyed His commands, He would bless them with victory over enemies, prosperity in the land, health and long life, abundant harvests. However, disobedience would lead to curses. This shows that God's rewards come through obedience. Hannah's story teaches us that God sees our tears, hears our prayers, and rewards those who diligently seek Him. The rewards may not always come in the way we expect, but God's goodness is undeniable. Hannah's faithfulness to her vow and her unwavering trust in God became a blessing not only for her, but for the nation of Israel through the prophetic ministry of her son Samuel. The rewards of God are not always material blessings, but often spiritual fulfillment, peace, joy, and an everlasting relationship with Him. Hannah's reward was not just the children she bore, but the deepened faith and intimate relationship she developed with God. Her prayer of thanksgiving in 1 Samuel 2 verses 1 to 10 is a powerful expression of gratitude and recognition of God's sovereignty, holiness, and the true reward of God. The story of Samson teaches that God's rewards are not only about earthly success or physical strength. They include His patience, mercy, forgiveness, and willingness to restore a repentant heart. Even after Samson's repeated failures, God remained faithful. His final reward was the strength to complete his mission, fulfilling his purpose of beginning to deliver Israel from the Philistines. This story emphasizes that God rewards those who seek Him earnestly, even when they have fallen. He provides strength, restoration, and the fulfillment of His promises to those who turn back to Him with sincerity and faith. The reward of faithfulness. When Ruth and Naomi arrived in Bethlehem, Ruth went to gather leftover grain in the fields to provide food for them. She happened to work in the field of Boaz, a kind and wealthy man who was related to Naomi's deceased husband. Boaz quickly noticed Ruth's kindness and dedication to Naomi. Boaz showed favor to Ruth by ensuring her safety, providing her with food, and allowing her to gather plentifully from his fields. His kindness was a blessing from God, demonstrating how God's rewards often come through the kindness and generosity of others. Jesus' promise of reward. In Matthew 19 verses 27 to 28, Peter asks Jesus, "We have left everything to follow you. What then will there be for us?" Jesus responds with a powerful promise. "Truly I tell you, at the renewal of all things, when the Son of Man sits on His glorious throne, you who have followed me will also sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel." This declaration speaks of a future position of honor and authority for the apostles. Their reward includes reigning alongside Christ in His kingdom, demonstrating how their earthly sacrifice will be greatly compensated by heavenly authority and blessings. Daniel's rise to power. Daniel's most notable reward came when King Nebuchadnezzar had a troubling dream that none of his wise men could interpret. Daniel prayed to God for wisdom, and God revealed the mystery to him. When Daniel explained the dream, King Nebuchadnezzar was amazed and acknowledged the greatness of Daniel's God. Daniel 2 verses 19 to 23. The king rewarded Daniel by making him ruler over the entire province of Babylon and chief of all the wise men. Daniel 2 verse 48. This was a tremendous honor for a foreign captive. Daniel's humility and dedication to God led to his promotion and influence. Under the rule of King Darius, Daniel continued to excel. This stirred up jealousy among the other administrators, who conspired to have him thrown into a den of lions by manipulating King Darius into issuing a decree forbidding prayer to anyone but the king for 30 days. Daniel, however, continued praying to God 3 times a day, as was his custom. Daniel 6 verse 10. When Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, God sent an angel to shut the lions' mouths, sparing his life. King Darius, relieved and amazed by Daniel's survival, issued a decree throughout his kingdom declaring the power of Daniel's God. Daniel 6 verses 25 to 27. Daniel was then rewarded with continued favor and prosperity during the reigns of Darius and Cyrus the Persian. Daniel 6 verse 28. Prophetic visions and spiritual rewards. Daniel was also given extraordinary spiritual rewards. Through dreams and visions, God revealed to Daniel many things concerning the future, including the coming of the Messiah and the establishment of God's everlasting kingdom. Daniel 7 verses 13 to 14. These revelations were not only rewards of insight, but also a testament to God's trust in Daniel's faithfulness. Joseph's trials and faithfulness. Joseph's journey began with dreams of greatness, where he saw himself being exalted above his brothers. This provoked jealousy and anger among his siblings, leading them to sell him into slavery. Joseph found himself in Egypt, serving Potiphar, a high-ranking official of Pharaoh. Despite being in a foreign land and reduced to the status of servant, Joseph remained faithful to God and his duties. God blessed everything he did, and he quickly earned Potiphar's trust, becoming the overseer of his household. However, trials continued. Potiphar's wife falsely accused Joseph of attempting to assault her after he rejected her advances. Joseph's integrity and dedication to righteousness cost him his freedom as he was thrown into prison. Yet even there, God's favor remained with him. Joseph continued to serve faithfully, and soon, the prison warden placed him in charge of all the prisoners. Divine reward through interpretation of dreams. While in prison, Joseph's gift of interpreting dreams opened the door to his destiny. He accurately interpreted the dreams of Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker. 2 years later, Pharaoh himself had troubling dreams that none of his magicians could explain. The cupbearer remembered Joseph and recommended him to Pharaoh. Joseph was brought before Pharaoh, where he explained that the dreams foretold 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine. Joseph also provided practical advice on how to save the nation from devastation. Impressed by his wisdom, Pharaoh rewarded Joseph by making him the second most powerful man in Egypt, responsible for overseeing food storage and distribution. Esther's rise to queenship. Esther, originally named Hadassah, was a Jewish orphan raised by her cousin Mordecai. She lived in Persia under the rule of King Xerxes I. The king dismissed his queen, Vashti, after she refused to appear before him during a royal feast. To find a new queen, the king ordered a beauty contest, gathering the most beautiful young women from across the empire. Esther was taken to the palace and, under the advice of Mordecai, did not reveal her Jewish identity. She found favor in the eyes of the king's attendants and eventually won the heart of King Ahasuerus, who made her queen. Esther's rewards and the salvation of the Jews. Because of Esther's bravery and wisdom, she was rewarded in several ways. Honor and favor. The king granted Esther great honor and respect, listening to her request even when it risked breaking royal protocol. The Jews were saved, The king issued a new decree allowing the Jews to defend themselves, leading to their victory over their enemies. Mordecai's promotion. Mordecai was elevated to Haman's former position and became second in command to the king, ensuring protection for the Jewish people. The Feast of Purim. In celebration of their deliverance, the Jews established the Feast of Purim, which is still observed today.